over, yeah.
The beer?
Okay. The ginger beer.
You can open this if you want.
Sure. I'll be right back.
Man, I am an alcoholic.
Put that in the fucking show, man.
This is gonna be the intro, man.
A bunch of sound bites I have of people that are just doing random
Yes.
shit.
How do you pour alcohol? What? You just stopped in the middle of like the black magic. Is this like a pressing thing? What? Huh. Is it empty? I think it's empty. I'm such an idiot. Please don't put that on the fucking thing, man. Oh man, this is priceless.
Hey guys, welcome back to Unsigned Berlin with episode 10. We're here with Marni Came. And Mila's usually here, but she's in the US for now with her family, so she'll be back for the next episode. And yeah, welcome. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves, Pedro and Liam, a little bit?
Yeah.
Go first, man.
Hey, I'm Pedro. I moved to Berlin a couple years ago to study music. And now, since then, I met this cool band with Liam. And we started walking the path of being a cool band to being something that I really enjoy and really want to grow with.
Yeah. I'm Liam. Moved from Israel to Berlin a year and a half ago. Started the band with a couple of friends. It became some sort of like the main project in my life at some point. And we're recording now some singles. We're working on having the debut full-length show of ours that is going to be in 2 weeks. You're all, of course, welcome to join us. Thank you for having us.
No, anytime. And that's the February 9th, right?
Mm-hmm.
At Badehaus? Yeah, we'll have everything available for that. We'll put up the ticket link and all that.
Hell yeah.
But kind of starting from the beginning, the name, Marni Came, there's a story. I've heard there's a story behind it, but I don't know what the story is.
Yes.
There's a good story.
What's happening? What is it?
Yeah. It's a good one.
It's an interesting one to say,
It's a really good one.
Basically, we had the end of term gig last year, and we didn't have a name back then. It was like a day before that, and it was the first rehearsal we had with you, right?
Yeah,
like the
or
first
second.
one.
It was the first full rehearsal with me.
Yeah, so we basically had like a song ready to perform with, and we were called at the time New Band.
Mm-hmm.
And the band wasn't like, with an A, it was with an E, like the band, like a curve. It was very stupid. We didn't know what to do about ourselves. Like it was just like a joke that kind of Anyway, we decided we're going to go to a bar and we are not going to leave the bar until we have a name. So we had like a brainstorm for like 2 hours. I think everyone kind of threw a lot of cool words in the air, a lot of combinations. We didn't find anything. Yeah, and then like a girl out of nowhere kind of came over to us and she asked for some cigarettes, and we said, okay, but you have to help us find a name for the band. And she said, I don't know, man, it's all like all the pressure, I can't. And basically we asked her, okay, just think about it and come back. And by the way, what's your name? And then she said Marni. And then I think it was Ricky. He just came.
There was still a little more part about it. Then she was like really like kind of just chilling there. And then she was with some kind of boyfriend that was like annoying her. Mm-hmm. So she said, I'm just gonna go like shut this guy up and I'll come buy you some shots right next. And she went and she never came back, right? Mm-hmm. She just went home with this guy, and then
we hated her for it.
We hated her and we hated the guy. And we made a lot of jokes.
Broke our hearts. Yeah.
And then Ricky,
the guitar player, just like out of nowhere said like, Marni came to ask for some cigarettes. And then for some reason we were drunk out of our asses basically, and we had like, Marni came. Has a ring to it.
Yeah.
Marni came. And then we just kept on like saying Marni came.
And then we went through some iterations like Marni King, should we not do it? Should we do it? This is gonna be weird. Nah, Marni came.
Is it too sexual? Is it too stupid? Did she come? Did she leave? Like what happened? Yeah, and then basically we kind of like, I think it's always like a kickback question, like Marni came, why? Yeah. So it's very fun to basically tell the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my immediate thing as well. Was like, who the fuck is Marni? Who is this person? Because it's none of you.
No.
Yeah, but it's been a while now. It was March. March was your first show for the.
Must have been no.
I mean, we had
like March 12th. October.
last 2
Oh
years.
no,
No, it
first
wasn't
show. Sorry.
October. It was cancelled, wasn't it? The first end of term.
Yeah,
gig.
it was March.
It
then.
was March.
Absolutely.
Yeah, March, and then like this one was the last end of term was the second one,
Yeah.
and we are gonna have the full one in like on 9th of February.
Yeah, this year. Yeah, coming up.
What's been the goal between then? Have you been like just making stuff and just having fun, or are you
To
like
have a full
aiming
set.
for an album or for
Yeah,
a full set, which will be then February 9th?
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's
Yeah, right now we have 32 minutes, I think, of like
But it's
non-stop.
pure song, pure music.
Yeah,
Just
wow,
no
it's a
stop.
lot. Yeah.
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 Is that going to be then probably like a 45-minute set?
Around
on the
that with all the
day.
shenanigans on stage.
Yeah.
Hopefully 45-ish.
I think 40 tops. I mean, how
40.
long can we like?
Yeah, sure, it'll be-
Yeah. it's-
We will see. I mean,
This is the
there's not like a
usual-
countdown or something. You can just like
Mhm.
fuck with it and see what
Mhm.
happens.
Yeah, and it's also an event you put together kind of yourselves as
yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
We did.
At Badehaus?
We contacted Badehaus personally, just from our own phones, not through any booking agent.
Mhm.
From just a contact that we got from Nora at BIM. They were happy to respond, and they were still trying to figure out who we were and why they should actually let us do it.
Mhm.
And we sent them some EPK stuff, some number stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
And they seemed happy to give us the date, still reluctant, until we actually gave them the plan. We gave them the
Mhm.
plan, the 3 bands are playing, blah blah. Woody, Woodstock, and the Usual Boys are also playing with us
Yeah.
that night. They seemed really happy with the lineup, and they checked everyone's Instagrams and stuff.
Mhm.
So now it's actually gonna happen. It's gonna go forward, and
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be
pretty
really great.
exciting.
Yeah.
How much are you going to be able to just take your hands off for the actual event and just focus on the performance? Do you know, or is it going to be something you have to kind of balance and figure out?
I mean, we're still like a small band. I mean, we're
Mhm.
starting, so
Yeah.
of course there's a lot of basically work we need to do ourselves. We cannot just lay back and hope that people are gonna come and
Mhm.
it's gonna go well. So yeah, there's a lot of promotion and marketing
Yeah.
involved.
For now, we still
and,
have a lot to do.
Yeah, I mean, the show itself, I think it's like a really good combination of 3 bands, because it's not like only heavy
Mhm.
rock or only
Yeah.
pop or whatever it is,
Mhm.
like specific genres.
It's a good
Mhm.
mixture.
Yeah, and I think it could basically attract a lot of different
Mhm.
audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
Absolutely.
our kind of BIM
Yeah.
and all the kind of common universities that are related to music and
Yeah,
whatever
all
it
the,
is.
all
Yeah.
the friends of friends are gonna be
Yeah.
bringing people, and it's gonna be great because Woody's bringing his theatrical, really well produced, bright colors,
Full costumes and everything.
fat sound,
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
costumes, and then the hip hop parts and the heavy rock parts and all of that with Juan on the guitar. It's gonna be one vibe, and then suddenly we're gonna bring it down to this kind of dark material of just complete.
It's funny
and
to
utter
say dark
chaos.
because I wouldn't call our music dark. It's very energetic.
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe,
that was- yeah.
maybe not the music itself, but the lyrics are dark,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
heavy energy, high energy stuff, high
Mhm.
octane, complete fueled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'd
then
say to our music, people are gonna have the more active moment at the
Mhm.
night. It's gonna
Yeah.
be more dancing, more
mosh pits and
basically.
everything.
Well, whoever wants to mosh pit can mosh pit, of
Yeah.
course. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable around us, but yeah, it's gonna be very
Energetic.
Yeah.
rock music after all.
Yeah,
We're about to
Mhm.
dance. We just
Mhm.
want to move, man.
exactly.
Want to
Yeah.
shake our
Wanna
booties.
have fun.
I mean, for me, when I was watching it back in March, it was definitely an energy thing. I generally don't pay attention to lyrics, which is something I should be doing, but it just mentally isn't the first thing. But is that something you were intentionally doing, where you were we want to have high energy and kind of a positive
Yeah.
feeling from it, but then have darker lyrics and have something more complex that you can go into?
I don't think it was exactly conscious. It was just
Mhm.
how we were feeling and how Liam
Yeah.
was feeling, because Liam writes most of the lyrics
Right.
Yeah.
and the times. But
For me, lyrics is the therapy, the
Mhm.
therapeutic kind of part of
Mhm.
music, and I mean the music itself is produced by the 4 of us kind of equally. I mean, I'm sometimes bring the main idea of the chord progression or the
Right.
the guitar lick or whatever it is, but
Mhm.
it always changes completely when I
Mhm.
bring it to the rehearsal.
And if someone else brings it, it always gets influenced by the other
Mhm.
group
Yeah.
members. It's
Yeah, but
But
it's
it's
always very
perfect like that.
energetic.
Yeah.
Right. It's always very upbeat,
Absolutely.
very. I mean,
Yeah.
if you'll be
Mhm.
in a live show that's been that is playing this kind of stuff, it would be you would want to move. You wouldn't want to sit down on a chair
Yeah.
and kind of have a beer and chat with some friends.
No, that'd be weird.
Yeah.
weird.
It just wouldn't be that
This
much
kind of
enjoyable
vibe,
experience.
would be
Because it's very
in your face.
yeah,
Sort of.
exactly. And then I guess for production as well, it will develop in that phase as well. Because if I'm right, you're producing it. You've been busy over the last couple.
Well, we don't really have a specific producer. I've been
Right.
doing some recordings and some
Mhm.
engineering, but so has other people.
Right.
I mean, basically the production is by me and
both of
Pedro.
us, yeah.
Basically, it's
And we just-
usually
We just scrap by like in terms of hours, studio time, and all of that stuff. We just scrap by with what we can get. Be it at another studio, be it at BIM, and
That's what you got to do.
whoever can help us is gonna help us. But we're just taking care of it for now.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you got to do. You just got to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And luckily, not luckily, but it's great that here in Berlin there's so many options and there's like a variety of levels as well. There's some stuff where you go there and you're like, oh, this is kind of grim. But
Yeah, true. Very true.
But yeah, I mean, is that part of the reason you had behind moving here? Each of, I guess separately, you guys didn't know each other ahead of time. But was that like you came here for music?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a band in Israel for like 7 years, and I just felt like I had like a glass ceiling that I couldn't break at some point, and I had enough of it, and I had the German citizenship, so I decided to move here.
Helps.
And yeah, it did, of course, it did. Like, yeah. Basically, when I moved here, like after a month, I already like started looking for people to collaborate with, and I found Sammy, the drummer, and I found like another bassist from BIM. It wasn't Pedro, it was Stefan. I don't remember his last name. He was a crazy bassist, really good. I mean, it didn't really work out with him. He didn't really feel the music. And I found Ricky from like a Facebook group, and then, which is a crazy story.
That's
Ricky,
so funny.
Ricky is like a fucking
Wild
it's a
card.
story. Like he has like a podcast of himself.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
should
and,
have an episode.
yeah. Anyway, Pedro, I knew him, but I didn't know he's a bass player.
Right.
Yeah. Sammy kind of told me about you, and he like talked with you about joining the band.
Yeah.
I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
Then
clicked
I
to like
explained-
instantly, like
yeah.
me and Pedro, Ricky, Sammy, all
Yeah,
of
it
us.
was great. It was just like super good chemistry, really nice vibe. Also because everything happened so like kind of effortlessly and naturally. Like I met Sammy one day because randomly we were playing beer ball at Boxy. Not because not because it was some sort of like high pressure like networking thing. It was just like, hey man, I saw you the other day. Like, do you want to do this? It's like, fuck it, let's try it out.
Yeah. And then ended up.
It went good. Yeah,
I mean, you
it
probably
was
worked
fun.
on like 3 projects with him now at this point. But he seems to be everywhere.
Probably he's
all
everywhere.
the bands.
I don't remember. It's been too many things.
But yeah, it's great to have like the variety as well of where you're getting different people from, because I mean, we know each other from uni, from BIM, and then you kind of get like a bit of a. It's great to have a network, but it becomes very like self-contained, and then reaching out of that is something that's like it's exciting because you get to meet other people, which is great, but also get different perspectives on music. People who are doing this for a different reason, who aren't just because I mean don't have that one thing in common that kind of ties everything. So it's nice to get that. Do you feel like that's influenced the music as well, getting people from different countries and different positions?
Yeah, completely. Like
we have an EPK. Basically, it's a part of it. Like each member of the band is coming from a different country, different background, different kind of taste in music, I suppose. I mean, I'm coming from Israel. Pedro is from Portugal, Ricky is from England, and Sammy is like local from Berlin.
Yeah.
And you can, I don't know if you can hear like the country's influence, but you can hear like everyone's kind of contributing his own touch to the song. And every song is a bit different, to be honest. It's not like a very static kind of creation, you know. It's not like if you hear one song of Marni Came, it's not like you heard all the songs that we created.
Yeah.
It's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah,
Think about us.
It's great.
How do you balance that when you're like putting together a set, for example, where obviously you want it to be one thing, you don't want it to be like a bunch of different random stuff that's just squished together, and then you have different influences from different people and stuff. Did you have like a talk at the beginning where you're like, there's some albums that we think of for like lyrics or for just like the concept or acoustics or whatever?
I'm not.
Or
I'm
just
not,
happened.
I'm not sure if we actually had like any sit down specific for this kind of topic, but we've always been talking just like when we have a break, when we go out to get some air after the thing, we're always talking about, like music and everything. So we kind of get this knowledge without having to like stop to think about it. And then for the set, what happens?
It's like unwritten kind of unsaid kind of
stuff. Know what
we
want to do. We kind of know what we want to do, but it's not like we have to meet and write it down, which is good because it doesn't hog you down. Yeah. And then for like a live set, let's say all the songs are super different, but they all have like similar motifs. And you kind of like you love to hear it and you're like excited about it, but you don't get bored because you already heard it before in any other way. And then it's just kind of like that whole energy curve of like going high, going super high, going a bit lower on like more of a ballad, still with the same vibe, but it's a different song. And then takes you like on a bit of a journey, and then hopefully ends with the bang at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you pinpoint some of the motifs where you're like, oh, this is something that labels us
Oh,
as
Ricky is the
Marni
motive,
Came?
man.
Yeah.
Ricky is the guitar player. This man is the glue of the band. This is how I describe him. Basically, like, you can take a modern rock band that has like really cool songs, but they sound very, like any other rock band. And then you bring Ricky in, and he's basically adding like something that you would never expect, because he claims like he doesn't know any theory and he doesn't have any like theoretical knowledge about
He says
music.
he doesn't know how to
And then
play
he
the
plays
guitar.
like the weirdest fucking chord that you'll see, and like some weird rhythmic kind of part, and like everything doesn't make sense, but it works and it
so well.
creates the part like in a perfect way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think I could ever like basically find another guitar player that does the same
Absolutely
thing.
not,
It's
no.
very, very unique. Not only guitar player, like a musician, like
Yeah.
that is adding like a touch, and it is not like a very theory biased.
Yeah,
I
but
guess.
also really viable musical ideas that are just not. Maybe he thinks about it kind of subconsciously, and he doesn't give himself enough credit. That's for sure, but it fucking works.
That's one of the kind of nice things where, with not being super educated on music, which sounds kind of dumb, but like going through the classical steps of like, oh, we're gonna do like the ABR7 grades, we're gonna learn theory and stuff. Where learning by ear, sometimes if you're not channeled through the same thing, you don't end up with the same result. And yeah, I don't know, maybe those routes are kind of what's to blame for some of the homogenization with
A little bit,
music now, which I mean, if you believe in that, it's kind of semi a lie. But yeah, so you found Ricky through the Facebook group.
It was Musicians in Berlin, I think is the name of the group. It's like, I think, more than 200,000 people. It's insane, the amount of people in this group. I just like uploaded some videos of my previous band, and I said I'm looking for a guitar player and a bassist, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I said I have a drummer, and we both have kind of, experience performing live. We both have or had bands that were like doing stuff for a long time. Yeah. And I got a lot of messages like from people that like send me good stuff basically. But like Ricky's, like, he kind of left a paragraph in the comment, and I was like, okay, this dude was like signed to Island Records. He was performing like in festivals of Arctic Monkeys, Kasabians. Damn. And I was like, why do you want to play with me, man? Like, what's happening? And then we just met for a beer. He like told me his life story, which is unbelievable. Like he was in the music industry, and just a lot of shit kind of happened, and he found himself like kind of dropping out. Right. Yeah, and basically I don't know how or why. But I'm really glad that I did, but I made him come back to the industry, which is I'm very happy for that, and which kind of made it work with the band. Like everyone kind of like working to make it happen.
That's kind of crazy, because I was thinking when you were saying that, like, how do you filter through all those responses? Because I mean, I've done the same, where you go online and try to find people. And it's a lot of people that, similar to where everyone is at some point, where you're just kind of like trying stuff and trying to do things. Yeah. But to see something like that is like, that's super unusual. To see something that stands out like Kasabian and Arctic Monkeys is a
I mean, how would you even react to someone who approaches you? Like, I mean, like 10, 15 years ago, I was signed to Island Records, which is like one of the biggest labels in the world. Like the top 3
from Universal, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, then he approaches you and he's like, "Do you want me to play with you?" And I'm like, "Yes, please."
Like, there's nothing you can say apart from that. You're just like,
appreciate it.
Anytime you're free, we'll make it work. I mean, is that something that you think is now like integral to the band, where you really want to keep this group of 4, or do you feel like there's a core element of the band, and then you can change out musicians, like session musician type things, to make that work? Like, is there a writing part and a playing part, or is it all together and everyone?
I mean, you're asking it as if I'm like the main songwriter, like the one who's creating all the music. But if I would do it by myself, Marni Came wouldn't sound the same.
Yeah, right. It's pretty integral that we spend time with the 4 of us. Yeah.
That's
specific 4 of us.
It's the most fun as well.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's just friendship, and it ends up being just fun.
Yeah,
and if you let people write with you, if everyone is writing together and contributing to the whole thing together, everyone cares about the final like outcome, and then everyone will want to work to make it like successful, and everyone has the same kind of goal in mind. Whether if you have like if you're a solo artist, which is like totally acceptable, everyone, a lot of people are doing it, but you have a lot of session musicians that you're kind of paying or asking like nicely to play for you. They don't have the same like basically
incentive.
Exactly.
Yeah, because their goal is to play what you tell them as well as possible, instead of
it's not their own creation.
Like, it's not a mutual we want the best outcome for the
Yeah.
music. It's for the artist, which is
Different
it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, like it's fun as well. It's more fun to have that kind of interaction, speaking with the music and everything. And that's, I mean, that's why you do a band.
Exactly.
It's not because it's like easy work.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and beyond the 9th, which is your first set, are you looking to try to put out music, or are you just looking to kind of tighten it down and get a really solid set where you're like, okay, what we do is we're live, we do this set, which is really great, and then try to figure it out?
Well,
Or do you know yet? It's still
a bit of
you
both,
don't
I
need
think.
to.
Yeah, I mean, basically we're kind of playing with it. We want to be like performing as much as possible, of course, but like, you know, don't want to perform every day because we're gonna have to bring people. It's not really realistic after all. But we have another show on the 9th of March. It's
Nice.
like Emergenza. How's it called? Emergenza.
Emergenza. It's like it's at Cassiopeia.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
And
basically the biggest competition of unsigned bands in the world or something. It's like 160 cities across Europe or something.
Europe, yeah.
And it's a lot of stages. Like it starts in Berlin, then it goes to the Nationals of Germany, and then I'm not really sure, but I
it
think
happens
Oh,
at
so
the
it's
same
like
time
a-
everywhere.
Like a tournament thing where
Kind
you,
of,
you do it in cities and then
Mhm.
countries and
And
then
then you go to the international
so-
thing and
that's really cool.
Poland or Sweden, something like that. It's great.
it's crazy though. Like the final stages, we saw some videos online. Like it's like in front of thousands of people. It's like
Yeah, it's
insane.
a proper festival, complete.
that's really
Like,
cool. I
yeah.
didn't know that was a thing.
But
And
we,
that's-
we had like one day to sign up because we were told about that like on the 30th of December, and it was like due to the 31st, I think.
Yeah, something like
We
that.
were like, the website was malfunctioning and everything. Then we were like, what the hell is going on, man?
It's the other
Yes,
3,000
yeah.
bands that just found
Yeah.
out about it.
Yeah,
and
everyone's
like-
just fucking like
Yeah.
blowing up the servers.
Yeah.
But
That'd
we
be-
did it,
yeah.
we managed.
So
That'd
the
be
first
exciting.
stage is on the 9th of March. We will actually, it was supposed to be a surprise maybe, but we're gonna sell tickets on the show
Yeah.
for it as well.
Oh, okay,
We're
right,
gonna
yeah.
sell some
Have,
tickets, like some physical tickets.
It's
to
much
everyone.
cheaper with us
Yeah.
rather than online or
Way
on the
cheaper.
spot.
And then we can, basically, the more people we bring, we need some votes. So
Right.
if we bring our friends, so if everyone can come to the show,
Mhm.
if you enjoy the show, just you can get some votes on our band, and then we move to the next stage.
And that's on March 9th at Cassiopeia,
It's
Yeah.
at Cassiopeia. Yeah.
right? In the big garden outside.
It's probably inside the big,
Oh, okay,
the
right.
big
Assume,
stage
yeah,
downstairs,
it's
the
kinda
underground
cold, isn't
stage.
it? Or is
Yeah,
it
true.
cold still in March? I'm not even
Probably
sure.
not.
anymore.
I'm just trying to be optimistic.
Global warming,
Yeah.
you can never know, man.
But
Yeah,
still,
true.
I
It was
think
17 degrees on New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
it's gonna be
then
great.
ideally, then you get voted through to the national thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
should
and
be-
then go out.
Yeah.
But either way, like
Over,
apart
Germany.
from the live shows, we have we are recording now 3 singles. We're working on the production of them,
Right.
and I don't know when we are planning to release them, but it's gonna be in like a couple of months. I
Yeah.
assume.
Soonish.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
have to get some mixes and some people
Yeah.
like that really are
Yeah.
interested in the music to go into that,
Yeah.
Mhm.
help us out.
Nice. But it's all kind of written in terms of what you're looking to put out. You
Yeah,
think?
pretty
Or
much.
I
We
guess
have all
obviously
the
it's
material.
flexible. Things change. and-
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
flexible. But we have all the material. We have the recordings. We just
Yeah.
honestly for these 3, we just need to record some vocals and stuff, and then
Mhm.
send it off to someone we trust for mixing.
Yep.
And then from there it's easy. Just get a good master and get it licensed and all that. But that's
Yeah.
gonna take a while still.
Nice. It's exciting.
It's exciting, yeah. The prospects
Yeah, out of
are
nowhere, the band kind of took off. You know, like took off. Nothing really happened, but like
But,
out
yeah,
of nowhere,
got
stuff
going.
like starting to
We
happen.
started
Like
to
we
do
have
that
like
stuff.
2 live shows out of nowhere. We have like these 3 singers coming up.
Mhm.
Looking for like people to collaborate, like mixing, mastering, whatever it is. Maybe having a manager at some point.
Yeah, at
I
some point.
Right.
hope because
Eventually.
I mean, I'm good in like the creating stuff, and I'm like designing all the visual side of the band as well. But like pushing it, marketing is like I'm trying it, but it's hard for
Yeah.
me. You know, it's
Yeah.
not natural for me to be
Yeah, it's not
online
my
like all
thing.
day, like texting people, and
It also just sucks.
Yeah.
Just not
Yeah,
It's
enjoyable.
horrible.
I mean, it's hard
Um,
to be like that, to fake it basically.
Yeah, and kind of create a balance where you're like, I'm still trying to be
Mhm.
authentic, but also trying to like push this to get,
Yeah.
to get somewhere. No, but
Exactly.
it's great, and it's kind of, I mean, you say it comes out of nowhere, but also there's a lot of work that went behind it. With the
Yeah,
first show being you guys organized as well to get
Mhm.
the other acts and organized with the location, and then all the
Mhm.
production stuff is also very like obviously you have to push it yourself to
Yeah, we have
to get it rolling.
Get some work. It's also been like a year in the making.
Yeah,
And
true.
It
Even
doesn't
more,
feel that
yeah.
crazy because it's always like been a good time or like mostly a
Mhm.
good time. But
Yeah.
it's if you look back like with objective mindset, it's obviously been a lot of work
And
until
I
now.
think we always had a goal in mind, you know,
Yeah.
to have like a full set or an EP or like something basically to look forward to.
Yeah.
So this is why it was always like not boring, I suppose.
And it's happening now, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
It's
exciting.
really exciting.
I'm looking forward
It's
to
about
it.
fucking
Okay,
time, man.
fun.
About
Cheers
fucking
for that.
Yeah, cheers. Is there anything else that you guys are working on individually or?
We are working on a website right now. It's gonna be. I mean, I don't really know why we need a website. Just in bookers and festivals and all these kind of more big stages that are looking to communicate with like bands through their websites.
It's like an EPK that's just a little bit
So
more interactive.
Easy to interact with, exactly.
Yeah, so we work on that. Basically, we're kind of taking boxes slowly but surely about how to become like a professional kind of band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a process, but I mean, we're enjoying it because we're doing it all together. You know, it's not like one person in the band is doing everything. It's like a shared.
Workflow.
Yeah,
Shared
exactly.
work.
Yeah, and it's great to find that balance as well because sometimes when you're working with people and it just doesn't click and you kind of got to go through a couple iterations of groups and stuff at first. But it seems like that was super easy for you guys. It seems like
it was quick.
Clicked pretty quick, which is great. Do you think that's partially because there's not I don't know, maybe there is, but not a massive scene for rock in Berlin because it's not like the place for it, so people aren't as loud about it? Or
yeah, we had a
do you
talk
feel
about it with who was it, Kiran, that he told us like there is like not a rock scene in Berlin, but it feels like something is about to happen in Berlin. Like it feels like it's about to basically erupt. How do you say?
Explode.
So,
Erupt.
yeah. So I mean, we hope to be the first ones or
Yeah,
part
hope
of
to
the
be
first
out there.
wave.
We
You
would
know,
love to,
basically
that would be
because.
sick.
There is a lot of musicians, not only techno musicians. I mean, there are a lot of people that create music for not only rock, like pop and live and all this kind of basically live music on stage, not a DJ. And it feels like it's kind of getting some more interaction with people,
more attention from people.
And I mean, I hope it's gonna only go up from here because it feels like it. I mean, around me, at least around us, all the people that I'm in contact with are really into this kind of stuff. I mean, into live music, into going to shows, being like in the audience, being on stage.
Yeah.
So it feels like it can only go up from here.
Yeah, especially now there's such a big push for live shows because we had the couple of years where we couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then I think a lot of people who didn't even go up before went out because it's like a thing now and discovered they really enjoy it and discovered there's a whole life to it apart from just like standing and listening to music like you would on headphones. And I think there's also that feeling for a lot of genres as well. There's some that are really settled in to being underground. Like I feel like there's a aura around the EDM scene in Berlin where it's like, oh, we're Berlin EDM, we're not trying to be famous, we're like trying to be in this club or whatever. And then pop where it's like, okay, I'm going to try to get to this point and then I'm going to leave to the US. But rock feels something like it's very geographically proud.
Yeah, and everyone understood the reason like that people are always like aiming to leave Berlin after like I don't know an X amount of years to the US or UK, because you're having all this amazing network for like I don't know 3 years of BIM like for instance, and then like people are kind of putting on like in the calendar like the day they're gonna leave to the UK, and I'm like. Why would you do that? Because I mean, you're doing it. You're paying so much money to be in like BIM, for instance, and then you're kind of creating this networking kind of environment, and then you stop because you want to step forward, but basically only stepping backwards.
I think it's a hangover from a time where it was like, okay, well, I need to go where there are studios and there are managers that are also managing like these massive people. Yeah. So it was.
But in Berlin, there are a lot of like insane people that are working in the industry like for decades, and like musicians. I just found out that what's the name of the singer of R.E.M. and Michael Stipe. He's living in Berlin apparently.
No, I didn't know that.
And a lot of like musicians that I've been growing on basically I grew on them and like living here, and like a lot of studios that people like Billie Eilish recorded some stuff here as well. I know it's not like rock, studios. But like I mean Berlin is equipped. It's just like people are always looking on the others. How do you say like the neighbors' grass is always greener. It's always like that. I mean, people are always gonna look on the other side and not on what they have around them.
Yeah, true. And now there's less of a need for being in the place where stuff is quote unquote happening, even though there's always been a really big scene here because of the internet, and you can kind of choose to just be somewhere where there's not necessarily like people with the experience that there are in Berlin, but you don't necessarily need that anymore. And I think when people think of Berlin, they don't think of like that. I never would have known that Stuyvesant's living here.
It's only about it because people tell it, like, give you this information. It's only because I was like, where is he living now? I need to know the address, man.
Yeah, there's like a stereotype of especially London, New York, LA, where it's like, oh, that's where music is. As if, first of all, as if Europe doesn't have its whole own thing going on, which is becoming, I think, more popular. I think more people are open to doing other languages, listening to other languages, which is great. Slowly. Yeah. Are you guys interested in doing that? Doing other languages, or are you like English?
Well, to be honest, I'm the main singer. I know only Hebrew, unfortunately. And I mean, for some reason, writing in Hebrew just doesn't feel natural for me, which is a very weird thing because it's my, like, you know, my main language, my mother's tongue. And I tried a couple of times to write in, like, that just didn't work. I mean, I don't know why. It's like, if you listen to music in like a specific language your whole life, and then you try to force writing it in a different language, it doesn't feel right. I mean, I don't know how it is for you with Portuguese.
For me, like, it's a bit different. Like, I would definitely not write in Portuguese unless it's like my own thing. Yeah. And it's not gonna be like some high energy rock song. It's gonna be like a kind of instrumental,
something
acoustic
soft
thing. Yeah. And I'm happy to write in Portuguese, and I think I can express myself really well, like poetically and artistically in Portuguese, but not a concept that would be good for like this kind of project or art, like heavy stuff.
Do you think it's kind of like a more input, more output thing where you do hear Portuguese music around? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I have no connection to Portugal or Brazil, but you hear it sometimes. And then I can't think of any Hebrew songs off the top of my head. Do you think that's maybe why? Just because if you don't listen to it, you can't like...
I mean, I think my family is gonna be angry with me saying that, but you know, I couldn't find an artist that kind of made me feel like excited about music in Israel. I mean, a lot of good musicians, a lot of good songs, but I mean, I like since day one basically that I started getting into the music industry, which was in the age of 10, I think. It was strictly English. Like, I remember the first day I listened to Bon Jovi, this was it for me. Like, I like this now, and this was it. Like, this is like the language, this is the way you communicate with music. It's English for me, and this is what happened basically. I tried listening to some Hebrew stuff, but never really stuck.
Was Bon Jovi the first thing that you had heard when you were young, where you were like, "Oh, this is mine. This isn't what's playing in my house. It's not necessarily what my friends are listening to, but I found it and it's cool." And
I mean, people laughed at me about like watching bands with like singers with long hair and stuff like that, you know, because I had long hair as well. Like, until the 8th grade, I had like hair up to my butt basically, and people like used to laugh at me about this kind of stuff. But I mean, I loved it. I mean, I felt kind of unique.
Absolutely.
Do you remember what that was for you?
Yeah, definitely. When I started playing video games on like PlayStation or whatever, you know, you jump in the car in GTA and you start hearing Iron Maiden. That's when it.
Really?
Yeah,
that's when like click something I don't associate.
To play some GTA, man.
I just like started because I was also starting to play guitar at the time, so I started looking it up on my little like fucking computer that I had at the time, and I was like, cool, these guys, they look cool. They obviously like look like they work for this shit, and it sounds good. And then like put it out for their fans, and I was like, damn, this is something I can appreciate, and it's definitely not something I had at home, so. It felt really mine and really like just
That's so cool. I would never associate GTA with.
Yeah, most people wouldn't.
Man.
They have the rock radios in the cars.
You remember the song?
Yeah, it was like fucking run to the hills and fear of the dark. Just those couple ones, and then they had some like Jefferson Starship and some other rock bands like Nazareth and some other more like
GTA is surprising.
Crazy stuff.
It's like it's a known thing, I think, where GTA car radio is like
really good radio.
GTA car radio, man.
It's a shame they had to like remove a bunch of songs due to copyright, but
I didn't know that.
You can still get them.
Yeah, I feel like that was also the first. Maybe I'm wrong because I don't know that much about gaming, but that feels like the first that I knew about that it was really an important part of the game where they were like, oh, this is also a music thing. Yeah, like also included.
Like when they started getting into like the 3D games and not the top-down games, they immediately put music in the game like, as a main thing when you're driving.
Yeah. Is there something you guys really looked at communally to be like, this is something that we all love? This is one album that we all love or one artist? Or is it kind of just like just like making music, just sat down and did
I
stuff?
mean, we have a lot of artists that we all, adore,
Mhm.
basically, but we never really had I actually want to do that, like having like meet up, just listening to music and saying like,
Absolutely.
this is like something I want to
Yeah.
like do something like that maybe
Yeah,
one day, or
definitely.
like this
Take-
is the
take some
sound I like.
references.
Yeah.
For us, I think we didn't really like have that kind of meetup yet, and we should
Yeah.
for sure. But right now, and what it's been like before, it's like just the whole like common interest and love for making shit that sounds really cool,
Yeah.
and that makes us like at the end of the rehearsal or at the end of like writing a new song, we're like, damn, like this
Yeah,
shit was like
yeah.
like this and like that, and then that's like some mojo in that song, and we should play it more until we kind of get tired of it, because next time we're gonna not be tired of it again,
Yeah.
and that's when you know you're like kind of enjoying what you're
Yeah.
doing.
It's also nice not to have anything kind of like not to have music theory understanding, so that you
Yeah,
might make something that isn't the same as what everyone else is making.
exactly.
I mean,
And we break the rules a lot, which is great.
what do you mean by breaking the
In like the music theory rules.
Oh, I mean,
Like-
I don't even know the rules, man. I know,
Yeah,
I know like
I know
a
the
part of the rules, man.
I know the rules quite well, but I just don't use them anymore
Yeah.
that much with Marni Came. Like it's not necessary, because the
Yeah.
parts that need to be like established are always in your head, just because it would sound like shit otherwise.
Yeah.
And the rest, like you gotta know them, like kind of know them to be able to break them. So it's
Mhm.
kind of just free range. Go
Basically,
for
I think what dictates like how a song is being formed in the band is more about the feeling of the part, and not like what we're doing
Absolutely.
technically
Exactly.
or like theoretically. So I mean, if I come to a rehearsal like a really cool guitar line, which is I don't know, something very upbeat, very I don't know, musy in some way.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying like to show like the top line that I have. Basically, what we're gonna do is kind of change it completely and make it more of it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more energized, more upbeat, more kind of
Complex, intricate.
yeah. It's complicated, but like it's not really jazz. It's only like
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
coming with like some really
Mm.
interesting, complicated kind of modes,
Mhm.
licks.
Mhm.
But
No, our
it's-
time changes. Like
yeah.
we play with as much as we can until it doesn't feel natural for us. And I
Mhm.
feel like that amount, we just, because we got lucky with the people we met, that amount is like a good amount for like what
Yeah.
we're making, what the kind of music
Yeah.
we're making.
Yeah.
Because if we were doing jazz, it would not be fucking
Yeah.
enough at all.
Mhm.
And if we were doing pop, like straight up pop, it would be too much. So like
Yeah.
it's a good middle ground for all that to meet.
I mean, we change every time we write a
Yeah.
new song. We change it a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
the last
Mhm.
song, the one before the last
After
song.
Heartbreaks is really good.
Wow,
How
yeah.
much it changed.
Yeah, we have a song. The one would be performed in the end of term gig.
Mhm.
Basically, it was a funk upbeat song that
Mhm.
me, Sammy, and Pedro kind of jammed with.
With some,
And
like,
then Ricky came to the restaurant and said,
upbeat.
"Guys, this is shit." Yeah, and then we said like, "Yeah, maybe this is shit, man."
Yeah,
And
but to be
then-
honest, it wasn't shit in the way that like someone would hear and just like cut it away from the drawing board. It was
wasn't-
just
it
it was
wasn't
just not
Marni.
Marni,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
And he was like, "What the fuck is all this? Like, why are
Yeah.
you playing it with a smile? You should be playing with like with a fucking
Stank face.
like a stank play, you know." And it moved into a much more like heavy, but also much more like proper song like that actually
Yeah.
works
Mm.
and has a good
I
structure.
mean, it
to
feels way Marnier, to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can say. Like, Ricky knows how to maintain, like, kind of, frame.
Aesthetic and
like,
frame, yeah.
around the music, but it's still, like, very creative within
Mhm.
the frame.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there is a boundary, we know that, but we can play with it, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we do.
Yeah, and
It's
Ricky
gotta be
is
played with.
basically the bullshit filter. Like,
Bullshit
this is how we
filter,
call him.
absolutely bullshit. Like the biggest bullshit filter I've ever seen, because people in general are good at recognizing bullshit, but this man, this fucking guy, just says like, that's shit, that's good. Get rid of that. Let's focus on this. And then 99% of the times he's
Yes.
right, and when he
Mhm.
isn't, he completely accepts it.
Yeah.
But very rarely he is, wrong.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like just works out.
Ricky
Bullshit
is...
filter.
Basically, a lot of people, when they create stuff, I mean, when you collaborate with other people, usually don't really want to get into, like, I don't know, conflicts. But
Yeah.
people have, like, different opinions about a part or
Yeah,
something.
people can get very
And
sensitive.
Ricky is
about
not like,
it,
it's
but
not coming, like, as a, like, he's trying to make you feel
Mhm.
bad with your
Absolutely not.
idea. It's just, like, saying, like, look, it just doesn't sound good. Like, we have this kind of music that we had, like, I don't know, 7-8 songs so far. Like, it sounds like in this kind of kind of bubble, let's say, and then you bring this song and it doesn't fit anywhere near this bubble and it doesn't work. I mean, we just need to think about it like more professionally. So this is what we are. I mean, we're very like, not professional, but we are learning with like time how to become.
And we are professional in the sense that like everything works really well. There's no like conflict because we all respect each other and we know that we're not trying to get anyone's like on anyone's nerves. And also when Ricky just goes, this is shit, this is good, we know he has more experience than us in certain areas. Yeah. So when he's talking about this kind of stuff, we just kind of take his word for it and we experiment. Yeah. And it's never like an absolute. It's never like, okay, this is gone because I don't like it. It's more like, I think this is shit and I'm right, and he is right.
The amount of time we said shit in this podcast is unbelievable.
We're gonna have to beep it out. But yeah, it's mostly just about knowing that Ricky knows his shit and knowing that we know our shit in different areas and we can help each other work through it. And when we have some criticism for Ricky, he always takes it like open-heartedly, and so do we when he talks about an arrangement or a part or this or that, or you're not playing tight or you're playing too tight. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, it's a real collaboration.
Yeah, it's a very safe space as well.
And we're always playing tight. We have Sammy on the fucking drums. This man is a live metronome, I swear.
Yeah.
Like, he's crazy. After the end of term gig, there was someone coming up to him and she was like, man, are you like a live metronome? I remember hearing that from the back. I was like, you know what he is? Yeah. he has the thing. He just like playing the double bass like 200 BPM.
We recorded drums at Funkhaus. Wow. And we're getting a great sound. Everything sounds great. And then suddenly we go to the more challenging part of the most challenging song. And the engineer was like, okay, guys, like, let's just get through this. It's going to take a while. Sammy goes, and we're like, our faces, and we're like, let's just punch in on that little part and that's the song. And it's like, shit, how did he do that? Like, there was just one little fucking fill that was fucked and that everything else was almost perfect.
I mean, when you hear like the solo tracks, you can hear like how clear each hit is, which is very impressive. It kind of sounds like sampled tracks, but it's just very fucking like easy for
tracks,
him.
But he's like just good, and we had like a good kit as well, and some good like room, so it just sounded great.
Yeah. Exciting.
Very nice.
Yeah. I think we've done 50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
Nice. No way, man.
Yeah. So kind of coming a bit to an end.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fun. Yeah. February 9th at Badehaus. All the stuff's in the bio for the ticket link and everything.
Ticket link, it's a Thursday. Show up. There's no
you're not doing anything on a Thursday night.
Yeah.
And you are now. It's cheaper to buy it now than on the the
just
day.
do it now before you run out of pre-sale tickets. Basically.
Thanks for coming on. It was a little bit last minute to organize, but thank you very much for coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, cool
stuff.
Nice.
Thank you. Woohoo!